What up, Laker fans? D-Mac here. We're back with another episode of the Lakers 24-8 Roundtable. And as always, I'm joined by Mr. Noah Cameras. If you want some expert Laker analysis, I know a guy. Noah Cameras, you can follow him at Noah Cameras. Noah, thanks for rocking with us today.
Thanks so much for having me, man. Super excited for this.
Yeah, this is going to be a big one. And we got my man, Noel Sanchez. As always, you can follow him at Noise by Noel on Instagram. This guy's stuff is fire. Bring that fire content.
Yes,
thanks as always. Chopping it up, talk some Laker basketball. You ready?
Hey, man, appreciate y'all having me again. Let's get right to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a more fun show, a livelier show, because the Lakers are actually playing well. They've won 6 of their last 8 games, and a lot of that is because of Anthony Davis. AD, like I said last week, it needs to stand for always dominant, and he's been doing that of late, averaging 33.8 points per game, 13.5 boards, 2.8 blocks, 55, 40, and 80 is 64% true shooting percentage since LeBron James has been out. And my first question for you, Noah, is if Anthony Davis can sustain this, if you can play at this MVP level, are the Lakers legitimate title contenders?
100%. I think if Anthony Davis is playing at this level, and of course, if he stays healthy, which is always a big if with Anthony Davis, but if he's playing like this, they're 100% title contenders. I mean, when you look in 2020, Anthony Davis was playing some of his best basketball in that bubble run. LeBron James was playing really good basketball, and they had good shooters around them. You look at the team right now, this new squad has those shooters around them, has a lot of good role players around these guys. And if you have Anthony Davis playing at this MVP level, playing at a Defensive Player of the Year level, and you have LeBron James fully healthy and back, I mean, that's one of the better teams in basketball. And I mean, obviously, their record might not show it because they haven't been healthy. But if you just think about this team, who's beating that team in a 7-game series 4 times? I don't think a lot of teams are, at least it's not going to be easy. So that for sure makes them contenders.
Yeah, he's playing with an absolute chip on his shoulder. Shaq, of course, said he fell off.
Yeah.
Like I said, he took a note from the great Drake, who said from the song Headlines, they said I fell off. Yeah, I needed that. So we know that he's motivated, he's fueled. But do you think this is sustainable? Do you think that he's going to play like this for the rest of the season?
Hey, first off, Doug, that was an amazing impression.
I
thought Drizzy himself put up right here.
Look,
you had that voice going.
If Drake quits music like they're saying, I'm going to quit listening to music altogether. That's all I'm saying. But no, look, I mean, I know you're big on AD. I mean, you were the one guy that was sitting here really defending him, saying that this is the foundation of this franchise and that he wasn't done. But do you think that he can sustain this? Do we have the bubble brow back for the Lakers?
Doug, I really do think that the bubble brow has indeed made a return, and he's here to stay for good this time. I look at it like he's returning to that level where we see him as one of the best players, if not the best player on both ends of the floor. And you look at other guys around the league, and not many can do what he's doing, being able to lock up some of the best bigs, some of the best wings in the league, while also giving 30, 40, 50 bombs. And I really do hope, and I do think that that injury history is going to be put to good, because you can search up numerous lists, and that thing is going to be super long of all his injuries, and just the Lakers alone. He'll get a few cat scratches here and there like he did last night. That looked pretty nasty.
Yeah, with that blood everywhere.
Yeah, but he finished the game off despite, no matter how bad it looked, looking like Edward Scissorhands hit him up. But yeah, man, like I'm super excited to see what he's going to do for us the rest of this year. And I do think he's just going to be always dominant, be looking like Will Davis out here. And yeah, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, number 3 looked like he was in Creed 3, the way his face looked last night. And like Darvin Ham said, he said he's Will Davis, right? Like, I don't care if he's Will Davis. You can call him whatever you want, as long as they're not calling him Anthony Street Clothes Davis. He's actually on the court. But I want to go back to you, Noah, and I want to ask you, how important do you think seeding is? We know the Lakers up to that 9th spot. They have an opportunity to go even higher. Anthony Davis said last night that he wants to get greedy and get as high as possible. How important do you think that is for the Lakers' overall chances of winning that Larry O.B.?
Yeah, I mean, in a normal year, very important. I mean, I know we were talking earlier, and I think that you were saying the lowest seed to ever win an NBA Finals was the 6th seed, and they had to go through a 1, 2, 3 seed on the way. So in a normal year, 100% seeding matters. But this year, you look at the Western Conference, and at the top, the Nuggets, yeah, they're a good team, but I wouldn't call them like a scary team, especially in a 7-game series. Yeah. And there's the Kings. They're a great story right now, but in a playoff series, I don't know. I feel like I'd take my Lakers or take those Lakers over those Kings. There's the Grizzlies. They have their issues off the court right now. There's the Clippers. They're still trying to figure it out with Russell Westbrook. So there isn't like a team at the top of the West where you're like, oh, if the Lakers are a 7 seed, there's no way they're going to get through these guys. I feel like the West is wide open. The East is a little tougher, but seeding won't matter for that because if the Lakers made it to the finals, they're going to play that team no matter what. So yeah, it'd be nice to have home court advantage, and it'd be nice to not be in the play-in tournament, and all those things would be great and just positives. But at the end of the day, I don't think seeding really matters that much because of how wide open the West is. I mean, the Lakers that currently, as we're filming this, are 2 games out of the number 5 seed. So they could easily get there. And the West has been so tight packed that it's not like a normal year. And fully healthy, I think the Lakers are for sure one of the best teams anyway. So the higher seeds aren't going to want to face the Lakers in a 7-game series. Not the other way around.
Yeah, nobody's going to want to match up with this Lakers team. If they had this roster intact for the entire year, they would be a much higher seed. And there's also a lot of veterans that aren't going to be afraid to start series on the road. I think the biggest thing is if you can avoid that play-in game where you have some more variance and anything can happen in a shorter series, that is the best case scenario. But I also think, too, history tells us in the NBA that the lower seed you are, the lesser chance you have. But I still have him as my runner-up. Then I'm going Joel Embiid. I don't think a lot of people respect him enough. I think you see his numbers. The scoring has gone up. He's been able to play. Health is well for Joel Embiid. He's carried that team in the East. Then I'm going Luka Doncic. I think the way the game is played right now, it is tailor-made for his skill set. The way he can hit outside shots, the way he can play make and get to the rack. Luka Doncic, I think, has the potential to have an even better career than Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas. And then I think rounding out my top 5, I will go with Anthony Davis. I still think Anthony Davis is in that top 5 on his best day. When you look at what he can do offensively and defensively, he's so skilled. He's so gifted. For him, it's just about being able to stay on the court. Yes, he is made of Rice Krispie treats, and sometimes he's a little frail. But look, he is a guy that when he flashes so hard, and he does things that some other players just can't do. So, yeah, he's absolutely still in my top 5.
So you're taking AD over LeBron and Kevin Durant?
I think at this stage, I think if they're healthy, if you're getting 100% AD right now, I'm going 100% AD over KD and LeBron. But if I'm going AD at 85%, I think Kevin Durant, I mean, he's such a workhorse, and he's the guy that's played this game so well for so many years. I think he's reinvigorated playing in Phoenix. But like we talked about earlier, I think the thing with Anthony Davis is everyone pigeonholes him into that 5 spot. He doesn't want to be the 5. And I think if you look at him as an exclusive forward, a number 4, he's easily better than guys like Randall, Markkanen, Siakam, Banchero, Sabonis, Wood, Gordon. Like how we said earlier, he's like the 6'2" guy at LA Fitness who is forced.
Those are
That's you guys, right? You guys want to go play point guard or small forward, be a wing, but they say no, post up, get down the low block. Just because you're the tallest guy at LA Fitness, there's like a bunch of 5'9" guys. That's the scenario with Anthony Davis. But I still think that I've been really impressed by him. I have to admit that at this stage of his career, with all the injuries that he's dealt with, I'm a little surprised that he's really taken the bull by the horns with LeBron out and just led this team. We know the talent's been there, but I like the fact that he did get roughed up a little bit. I mean, it looked like he dropped last night, what was it, 30 and 22, getting his face ripped off like we talked about. So, yeah, I've been very impressed by him. And look, it's not like the guy wants to get injured, right? It's not like the guy likes being in street clothes, right? He wants to play, and like I said, I think that he has a chip on his shoulder. But
and one more thing on the AD, like you said, I mean, last night 30-22. Also, you saw him mean mugging at the end of the game. Like you could tell him what you wanted it. And the last few games, their last few big wins, he's been huge in the clutch. He had the huge shot yesterday, put him up 107-101, and he was clutch in that Warriors game. So he's really taken it upon himself and putting this team on his back and doing it in the biggest moments, which honestly, if you look at this Laker team, LeBron has been that guy shooting those clutch shots, and he's been missing them all year, the last 2 years. So if you look at AD, if he can be someone who can get a bucket in the clutch when the team really needs it, that's only going to elevate this team more. And it's been really impressive to see, like you said, put the team on his back, but also really in the biggest moments say, I'm that guy. I'm going to get a bucket right now for this team.
Yeah, it's crazy you say that too, because I feel like the whole tide shifted with AD specifically in that Mavericks game when LeBron went down. Because AD hit that go-ahead shot, and he was just swatting shots. And I feel like the team as a whole, they have this whole dog energy in them right now.
Yeah.
Even looking at someone like Austin Reeves when he was going at Josh Green in that Mavericks game, he told him, like, I'll F you up. Like, you ain't going to do nothing. Like, that's the fire that we need to see from not just Anthony Davis, but from the rest of the team. And especially after the trade deadline with all these new faces, it's super important to bring that energy going into the postseason.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you're seeing benefiting from these wings and these pickups. They're allowing him to have more spacing. And I think Anthony Davis is a guy that has been so talented for so long that he doesn't even realize just how good he is because he was just born this way. So I think Anthony Davis is definitely on the right path, and he's doing exactly what the Lakers need him to do right now to get them to the promised land, and that is get another NBA championship. But switching Shifting gears to your favorite player, Rui Hachimura. So Rui Hachimura has had some ups and downs. The early returns on Rui are a little by Laker fans. If you look at his numbers, averaging under 10 points per game, 9.8 points per game, 5.3 boards, shooting just 27.5 from beyond the arc, 45% from the field, playing the same amount of minutes as he was in Washington, 24 minutes. Noah, I want to go to you first. What are your early thoughts, early impressions of Rui Hachimura in the purple and gold?
Yeah, we've had some good conversations about Rui, which is probably why Doug's coming to me first on this one. I feel like the idea of Rui Hachimura is better than the play of him. I feel like fans were really excited when the Lakers got him. 6'8" wing, space the floor, young, former lottery pick. Like, they were very excited. It was only Kendrick Nunn and 5 second-round picks. I mean, oh my God, like, this is such a steal. He hasn't really lived up to that yet. I mean, there's a reason that the Wizards were trying to dump him. There's a reason that he hasn't lived up to his former lottery pick. He struggled, and he's been horrible as a shooter. I mean, you said 27.5% from three. He's supposed to be good at the corner threes, can't hit an open corner three. It seems like all of his shots always hit front rim. He's not getting enough legs in it, whatever it is, I don't know. But he has like that really line drivey shot, and it just consistently is hitting front rim. He's been okay from the mid-range. I mean, it's not like he's been bad, but still, he's in a lot of front rim. He just hasn't been like the great floor spacer shooter we were expecting him to be on this team. And then it's not like he's a great defender. I mean, he's long, he's 6'8", so he has like the capabilities to be a good defender, but he's not that athletic and he's not that fast. So like, it just, you were hoping that he'd be able to stretch the floor and be able to like play a stretch forward position to kind of let the Lakers go small and have better spacing. But him not being a good shooter has just been more of a hindrance on this team than a help. Now, I'm not saying that this was a fail. I'm not saying it was a bad trade. I'm not saying you have to get rid of him right now. I mean, you want to give this guy time, but overall, I feel like it's been worse than everyone likes to say because, like, you want the Lakers to have won the trade. I mean, the Lakers had a really good 3-team trade. They for sure won that one. But in this moment, I don't think that they came out a winner in that Nunn trade because they lost 5 second-round picks, and Hachimura hasn't been, I think, what everyone was hoping he'd be.
Yeah, I think there's no question that it has been underwhelming to this point. But I also think, too, have the Lakers been utilizing and optimizing him at his strengths? I think they're trying to turn him into this 3-and-D guy. I don't think that is who he is. I think one of his biggest strengths is he does something that doesn't really fit with the modern NBA, and that is that mid-range shot. I mean, he can hit that at a really nice clip. He's a guy that doesn't rebound that well, but when he's rolling, I mean, you see what he does. Last night, really had his best game, in my opinion, as a Laker, 17-6 and plus 22 box plus minus. So definitely some steps in the right direction, but I want to see him get more post looks. I want to see the Lakers use him in the way that he's really built his career on and not try to have him be someone he's not. But what are your early impressions of Rui?
I mean, yeah, like the biggest reason we brought him in was to space the floor. You know, being that tall, we were hoping that he would be able to shoot over players and get those open looks. But, I mean, teams are sagging off of him, so it's no good in being taller than everybody else if they're not even going to try to contest your shots. But I do hope to see more productivity out of him. I hope to see more energy out of him because it seems like he's more of a laid-back dude, but laid-back is not the type of energy we need right now in Los Angeles. We're trying to get every win we can get. We're trying to get everybody acclimated to the system after the trade deadline. And I can't help but feel maybe Roy feels kind of like down on the priorities of the Lakers after they brought in guys like Jared Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell, guys like Austin Reeves have come back from injury. And I feel like him alongside with Lonnie Walker, they're falling down lower and lower in their rotation. And it does kind of suck to see because I had really high hopes for both these guys when we acquired them. But I just feel like Roy needs to really, like Doug was saying, find his role. Even if it means like going away from the playbook every now and then, trying to get a post look and be aggressive. I feel like he could play the high-low with AD. That is something that AD has thrived in before with players like JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard. And Roy can do something that neither of those guys could, and that's, like you were saying, hit the mid-range shot. So he just needs to get flowing again. This past game was a really good sign. I felt like he was really locked in, and he stepped up in a time that the Lakers needed him. And I want to see more of this moving forward because if not, the Lakers do have a lot of priorities this offseason when it comes to money. And if he's not careful, they might not be looking his direction to give him the money there.
Yeah, I think from just an eye test, from a body language standpoint, I mean, we're talking about Austin Reeves in a couple of seconds here. I mean, does he play with enough fight, enough aggressiveness, enough dog? I mean, I don't want to know why he doesn't jump after certain shots. I mean, he just seems like he doesn't even jump as much as certain NBA players. But yeah, I still think the potential's there, the upside's there. Number 9 pick out of Gonzaga back in 2019, I believe, 2018, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, he is a distressed asset at this point of his career because he hasn't lived up to that billing. But I want to ask you next, Noah, do you think after seeing him play so far, it's still a small sample size, 8 games, do you think the Lakers should sign him to a new deal this summer?
I mean, honestly, I remember we were talking about it, I think in the last roundtable. I think him playing poorly is not a bad thing for LA, because the better he plays, the higher his price tag is going to be. And he's someone that obviously they have intentions of keeping. I mean, they wouldn't have traded 5 second-round picks for a half a season rental. So clearly they have intentions of keeping him. But if he came in was averaging like 20 points, 8 rebounds a game, like shooting like a high clip, like his price tag just goes up. It'd be $20 million a year. Now that he's kind of struggling, I think he could even fall out of the rotation a little bit if he stays struggling. That price tag is going down. So if you can get Rui at like $10 to $12 million a year, I remember an insider, I forget which one, said it's probably at like 3 years, $13 million a year. So 339, 340. That's great value. I mean, this is a guy who you still want to kind of believe in, take the chance on. Obviously, the former lottery pick always kind of has you excited, things like that. And he has the right body for this NBA with being able to be length and shooting and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the worse he plays, I mean, you want him to be good enough where he's not being he was a plus 22 yesterday, so he's doing something right. But as long as he's contributing enough, but not contributing too much, and his price tag stays where it's at, I feel like that's kind of a win. So if I'm the Lakers, I don't pay him any more than $14 million a year. I think 10 to 13 is the perfect range. And if he ends up getting more than that from someone else, then so be it. You take that L and move on. Yeah,
he's wrapping up his rookie scale contract. He's no longer extension available. So anything to me in the $10 million to $13 million range, I think that makes a lot of sense, because you give up all those picks and you can't just let him walk for a Rui rental. A guy that's scoring less than 10 points, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And when you look at the Lakers this summer, I mean, if you sign him to a new deal, you sign Austin Reeves, you're looking at around $23.5 million to play with to try to bring him some new talent. But would you sign him to a multi-year deal? Are you all in on bringing him back to the purple and gold?
You see, as of now, he hasn't been a crazy difference maker outside of that one good game that we talked about. So I'm not too high on bringing him back just yet if it's above like the $10 million range, just because I want to save as much money as possible for Austin Reeves. I feel like he's important to our future, and we're going to get on that in a little bit. But looking at someone like a Rui Hachimura, who his body is built for the NBA, and his play style should be good, but I think we're going to see in the playoffs what he's made of. I think that's really going to determine if he is a part of our future in the years moving forward, because the game's going to slow down. It's going to be more tailored for his style of play, where he can hit mid-range shots. He can hopefully go to work in the post and just get more one-on-one looks, because I feel like that's what he was thriving in at Gonzaga. That's what made him a number 9 pick. And I want to see more out of him with the Lakers, because that's his bread and butter right there. He's not a 3-and-D player. He's not a catch and shoot. He's not going to lock up the best guys. He's not the fastest player on the court, but I do feel like he's skilled. I think he's experienced, and he's seen different matchups all throughout his career. I mean, he even caught Anthony Davis on a poster one time. So, he has that dog in him. I feel like we got to unlock it. I'm not sure what it's going to take. Maybe when D'Lo's back, I think maybe playing with a good point guard that can set him up. So, yeah, as of now, I'm not too high on bringing him back to the Lakers, but I think the playoffs is where he's going to prove he's worth the money.
Yeah, I think you have to focus on the upside. I mean, Wojnarowski already said that they're looking to sign him to a deal, and they don't want to get burned by giving up these assets and not retaining some of these guys. And, I think you brought up a great point in the fact that, let's say the Lakers traded for him and he hits the ground running and he's just killing the game, and he's going to be looking for a big deal. But this is a guy that it's an investment. This is a guy that you can take advantage of that upside. I mean, we're in Los Angeles. People are flipping houses all the time. They talk about curb appeal. You can see the curb appeal. It's just the grass hasn't been mowed. You might need to repaint it. You might want to do the granite countertops and add a new refrigerator, right? I think they see the potential. He absolutely has the potential to be a guy that can be a core member that can give you 25 minutes per game. And I think you're looking at a sweet spot of 15 to 17 points per game and an efficient score. But I think it's important to know, too, some of these other guys they traded for, the Vanderbilts, the Beasleys, the D'Los, those guys are a little more established in this league. They have a little more experience. Rui, a guy from Japan, goes to Gonzaga, goes to Washington, which is one of the smallest markets there is. You go to the Lakers, where the spotlight is on you. That light is shining bright. It might take him a little longer to really transition into that role. So sounds like we're all on board into bringing him back. It's just he hasn't knocked our socks off just yet. So let's hope that he really turns it around. So switching gears to a guy that has absolutely really, I think, exceeded expectations as a Laker is Austin Reeves. I call him LeBron James. Some people call him the hillbilly Mamba. You talk about that grit and that dog. Well, he is a restricted free agent this summer. He is going to qualify for that Gilbert Arenas rule, which allows teams to re-sign restricted free agents who are not first-round picks. We know he was a second-round pick. And I want to ask you first, what are you comfortable paying for him? I mean, I'm thinking something 3 years, $30 million, maybe even 4 years, $45 million, full MLE. But where are you at right now with Austin Reeves?
Yeah, well, I'll preface it by talking a little bit about Reeves. I mean, I've been very impressed. I think we've all been very impressed with Austin Reeves. But, I mean, it's just incredible the type of basketball player that he's turned into out of nowhere. I mean, I think a lot of scouts deserve to be fired for not drafting Austin Reeves for what he's done and what he's turned into on this team. He's such an incredible shooter and shot creator and scorer. And these are things that you didn't think. I mean, I think he's had like 3 games this year where he's shot 100% from the field. Like that's unheard of. And he's shooting like 6 times. So he's an incredible shooter. Incredible on the offensive side. He bails the Lakers out. He's also a clutch shooter. He's made multiple clutch three-pointers this year and last year. And on the other side, he's a great defender. He has the energy. He hustles. And he knows how to lock up some good scores on their side. So he's just done so much for this team. As far as extensions go, I think 100% they have to bring him back. They can't let the same mistake happen like they did with Caruso. Obviously, I'm not comparing the two, but I do think that was a big loss not bringing him back. I think Reeves would be a bigger loss not bringing him back for what he's brought to this team. So I'm saying, like you said, somewhere in the maybe $12 million a year range, like 336. Maybe you can get away with a 444, something like that. I think that gets the job done, and I think it's 100% worth it because you do not want to let this guy go after, first of all, how much he's brought to this team, but also how much just guys like playing with him. I mean, the chemistry, with him and LeBron, with him and everyone is just really off the charts. I feel like this is someone you can't make the same mistakes you made in the past. Learn from them and bring back Austin Reeves and keep him as a key piece of this core. I'm for sure taking Reeves over Hachimura.
Yeah, I mean, he's an absolute fan favorite. He's really a locker room favorite. You can see how his teammates feed off of him. We saw that moment early in the year against Josh Smith where he told him, "You ain't shit, I'll F you up." That is really what he brings. And there's something to be said about that tenacity and really helping establish that culture. And that really, he feeds off that. So, yeah, I think that you look at those incremental improvements he's made. I mean, as a playmaker, he's gotten better. As a shooter, he's gotten better. As a guy that really, he added that crossover dribble out of nowhere this season. So he's a guy that's continuing to get better. You look at his numbers, averaging in double figures, 11, 3, and 2 on 50% shooting, 39% from 3 last night, 17, 7, and 4 against the Grizzlies. And he's a guy that you can count on to have ice in his veins in big moments. Remember the shot he hit against the Mavericks last season? That's how I knew that this kid's special. But I want to ask you, Noel, do you consider him a must re-sign for the Lakers?
Honestly, I really feel like Reeves has broken out of a barrier that I feel like a lot of Lakers fan favorites fall into. And that's either that you stay a fan favorite for a couple plays and you know they're good for a couple things, or you really transcend into a player that is going to become a key part of the rotation. And Reeves has certainly done that. I think back to someone like Matt Ryan, who hit that game winner earlier in this year and then kind of fills it out, and eventually the Lakers waived him. I think early back into Austin Reeves' career, we were all watching him thinking like, oh, damn, this kid, like, he's got some good plays. He has some reverse layups. He had the occasional chase down block. We're like, okay, we see something cooking. But now he's truly become every game. He's important to the wins. And he's leading comebacks. He's taking charges. He's cooking up in ISO plays while LeBron's out. And I think especially while LeBron's out, a lot of our success wouldn't have come if it wasn't for him. He's truly stepped up to playing in the city of LA. And like you mentioned, he really does have that tenacity and that hard-working ethic in him. He's busting out moves that we haven't seen before. And that says a lot to what he's doing in his free time, in his practice. I think he's learned a lot playing alongside guys like LeBron, Anthony Davis, probably even a little bit from Westbrook in his time here. But, yeah, like Noah said, I don't want the Lakers to make the same mistake we make with Caruso. And I think we will feel it more, not just the front office, but us as fans. I think we've all come to love Caruso, and it's for a reason. He's one of the most clutch players on the teams. He's ready for those big moments, and I think that I'd be willing to give him, like, a 4-year 44 or 38 million. Honestly, around that range is solid. He's never really going to knock those Caruso comparisons.
Yeah,
I mean, Laker fans always compare Caruso with Austin Reeves because they're both basketball players, right? I mean, let's be honest, though. I mean, there's these comparisons between those two guys. But look, as a defender, we know Caruso has the edge. But offensively, to me, there's really no comparison. When you look at how fearless he is, how much he's improved as a ball handler, as a playmaker. I love the fact that he challenges some of the elite shot blockers in the game. I mean, he is absolutely fearless.
Last night
with
against
Jaren Jackson.
He did an up and under against
Jaren
Jackson. I mean, just like 3-something blocks a game, and he's like, I'll take you in. Like I'll go into your paint and I'll get a bucket in a tough way. I mean, yeah, he has like that the dog in him, like you like to say. Like he's fearless. I mean, he's not worried about who's on the other side. He's going to get a bucket when he needs it, and he's going to make the right play. And he just plays with such good passion that like it's impossible not to love him.
Yeah, and I think what I love most about him is his game is built on skill and not athleticism. And I think he does have some sneaky athleticism in him. We've seen him go to the bucket. I love his two-handed jam when he just gets into the lane like that. But you're seeing him improve around the margins and him taking the most of this opportunity. And one guy that comes to mind, I'm calling him Baby Manu, because he's starting to remind me of Manu Ginobili, more of a right-handed Manu Ginobili. The way that he can facilitate, the way that when he's in the game, it doesn't matter if he starts or he comes off the bench. When he's in the game, you know he's in the game. You can feel him on the court. You can feel his presence. And I think that as a facilitator, as a playmaker, as a guy that can go out there and hit big shots, he's going to be invaluable for this organization. But yeah, I know I joked about the comparisons to Alex Caruso, but the most apt comparison is just the fact that they let him walk. And they basically said, hey, we're going to go THT over you. And we know that that really was kind of the beginning of the end of that kind of last team for the Lakers and why they struggled so much, because they were so strong with their depth on the margins. And Reeves is a guy that he's young. I think has a bright future. I think that, yeah, there's something to be said about being a fan favorite and a guy that you kind of grow with this organization. Well, let's be honest. This team got a little geriatric over the last few seasons, and you want to really keep your hands on, hold on to some of these younger guys like the Austin Reeveses, because look, this is becoming an increasingly young man's game, and I think that it's going to bode well for him. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement. You have to bring him back. I would absolutely consider him a must re-sign.
I agree.
I absolutely think that he's a guy that I think Caruso with the Bulls, sometimes he had his nights, he got injured, but I think Austin Reeves for teams out there, he can plug into any team in the NBA and have an instant impact and help them win games.
And the thing with Reeves is not even in the numbers. Like, I mean, he's got like 11, 3, and 2. Like, it's not like he's putting crazy numbers, but if you watch a Laker game, you're like, Austin Reeves made another play. Austin Reeves made another play. Oh, the Lakers on a 6-0 run, an 8-0 run. That's all because of Austin Reeves. Oh, like great defensive stop. That's awesome. Like you see what he does on the court. It doesn't even matter what his numbers are, because you know that he's making an impact. And there are many games where you're like, the Lakers won this game because of Austin Reeves. Like that's what it is.
It's the intangibles. It's stuff that's not going to show up in the stat sheet at the end of the day. And the post-game show host may not even talk about it, but like us fans that are really watching like every minute of the game, we see the value that he brings to this team and the value he would bring to any other team. So Lakers front office got to be very careful. They got to respect Austin Reeves, give him the money that he has deserved. And he's going to be a big part of this postseason run that we're hoping to make.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a great point, too. He has this sense of when the team needs him to step up. I mean, when he goes 6 for 6 against the Warriors, has those 17 points, you know that that's what he needed. I mean, basketball's in his blood. His mom at Arkansas State averaged over 21 points per game, was the all-conference winner. So, yeah, I think that he's a guy that is going to absolutely be a part of this team for years to come. But going to switch gears a little bit to last night, where Pau Gasol got his number 16 retired. It was a powerful moment, not a dry eye in the house. And first, I want to get your takes. You had a banger tweet on it. What'd you say?
Yes, I said the Lakers don't win championships number 15 and 16 without number 16.
Follow No Cameras on Twitter. More bangers on the way.
If you want. Yeah, I mean, I'll jump right in. Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. That's how I feel. I mean, it's real. I mean, he made such a big impact on this team, on this fan base, on really, I mean, the city of Los Angeles even. I mean, he was such like a big figure. Him and Kobe Bryant were that dynamic duo that led this team to those 2 more championships, beating the Celtics in 2010. I mean, he brought so much. And yeah, I mean, the career didn't end the greatest way. And none of that really matters at this point because of what he did during his peak years with Kobe. And also, of course, just he is kind of like, I mean, him and Kobe were the team. And I love that forever now. You're going to look up in the rafters at Crypto.com Arena and you're going to have a Kobe jersey, and a Pau jersey next to each other. Because that's how it should be. Those guys were really the reason that the Lakers have those 2 more championships. And those guys should forever be remembered as a duo that won these championships. And Kobe gets all the respect, as he should. He deserves all the respect, but Pau doesn't get as much respect. And I'm glad that he's getting that respect by having his jersey up there.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he's absolutely embraced this honor by the Lakers. Even a few days ago, before they retired the jersey, he told reporters, he was asked by a reporter if it was the highlight of his career, and his response was, highlight of my career? I think it's the highlight of my life. This
so
moment that we're
nice.
about to experience, having my jersey retired and receiving this honor, and being with that group of people and incredible achievers, legends, is something I could have never imagined. So I think he really kind of feels like a Laker once again. I mean, there was not a good ending, and usually it doesn't end well with a lot of players, but for him specifically, coming off those championships, the way he was done by Mike D'Antoni and that regime of Lakers, it did not end well. And I remember that last game against the Spurs when the Lakers got swept, and Dwight Howard gets ejected. Kobe comes back with the crutches, sits next to Powell. It was almost basically they were trying to tell him that, hey, this guy was disrespected. But I want to go to you, Noel, and get your thoughts on Pau Gasol. How will you remember him as a Laker?
Yeah, man. Last night was just something beautiful. I think the whole basketball world kind of just took a pause and at least tuned in for that halftime ceremony. Really got to hear the words he had to say and just see him surrounded by loved ones, his wife, his kid, Vanessa Bryant, and whose family he's grown very close to over the years, and Derek Fisher, who was his teammate, starting point guard. Gasol, he just brought something to the city of Los Angeles that I think we really needed at that time. Following that Kobe and Shaq era, a couple seasons, we didn't have a lot of success. The city as a whole was down. You had the Clippers, who had their little cool team, but obviously they ain't gonna be winning anything. But yeah, he brought a beautiful style of basketball coming from Spain. He got traded for his brother, which is actually pretty crazy. And it almost just felt like it was destined for him to come in and make a difference. He came in with only one All-Star appearance, and I believe he made five more All-Star teams. And him and Kobe, they were like the unlikely duo that just wreaked havoc on the league, and their friendship went beyond the basketball court. They're truly brothers. You could see that by the times he shouted him out in that ceremony speech. And I just feel like Gasol, you don't get those, like you said, you don't get those championships without him. He brought as much energy as he needed to in those seasons, and he bounced back from a 2008 finals appearance where KG got the best of him, unfortunately. But I'm really excited to see how Gasol is involved with the Lakers organization moving forward, because he's just a staple. He's up there with the best centers of all time to ever don the purple and gold, and Shaq, Wilt, and so many others. And just one of the best moments in basketball that I've got to witness.
Yeah, I think there's no question that he's going to go down as the best Spanish basketball player in league history. I think he'll go down as one of the most skilled and intelligent bigs in basketball history. And look, this guy was long. He could pass. He could shoot. He could defend better than a lot of people gave him credit for. And one of my favorite things is he could finish with both hands just as good. I mean, the only way you knew he was righty was when he was shooting, right? I mean, the way he could finish. And I think, too, a lot of guys, when they get these honors, they have these achievements, they'll point to a teammate that said they had a big impact on them. But I think this one is absolutely genuine, is that Kobe Bryant truly took his career to a whole nother level. Because one, the Grizzlies weren't winning titles. He was an all-star, like you said, but Kobe took him to a whole nother stratosphere. One of my favorite stories is coming off that Olympic gold medal win for the Team USA, Kobe Bryant, he took that gold medal and put it in Pau Gasol's locker as
Classic
motivation. And what happened? Lakers went on to win the title that year, and a lot of it was because of how dominant Pau Gasol was. So, yeah, a versatile big, a perfect complement to Kobe Bryant. Such an intelligent player. But, I want to ask you, what is your favorite moment with Pau Gasol and the Lakers, or just kind of like his whole experience here? Just kind of what do you think of?
Yeah, I mean, like when I think of Pau as a Laker, I mean, my brain just goes straight to the 2010 NBA Finals. I mean, the Lakers, I mean, him and Kobe finally beating the Celtics, winning that championship together. I mean, obviously it was their second one because they won the year before, but this was a little different. They beat the Celtics, a team that beat them 2 years before. I think of that Game 7. I mean, Pau had a huge impact. They barely win 83-79. I mean, I just think of that series as just kind of like the defining Pau moment, Pau-Kobe moment. I mean, them two coming together to really just getting the city of Los Angeles what they needed in beating the Celtics. I mean, there's so many great moments he had, but just overall, I just think of him and Kobe hugging, winning that title. Like, we did it. We brought Los Angeles what we needed. We got those two championships. And I mean, like we talk about him and Kobe as a duo. I mean, they're two of the smartest basketball players, but also two of the smartest like people. I mean, they're just such intelligent minds. So it's so beautiful to see them work together. And I mean, Kobe really elevated Pau's game, but Pau really elevated Kobe's game too. I mean, together they were able to just create this dynamic duo. So Yeah, I got to go to the 2010 NBA Finals.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, is that Kobe benefited from Pau almost just as much because he had a versatile big that was really on the same level as him from a basketball IQ standpoint. And you mentioned that 2010 Finals. Like I said, when it comes to my Lakers fandom, I basically retired it after that Finals win because really nothing was ever going to top that for me. I mean, winning Game 7 at home. And look, Kobe didn't have a great game. He struggled from the field. Pau Gasol didn't even have the best game. He goes 6 for 16, but he led the team with 18 rebounds.
And I think every single one of them.
Yeah, exactly. He needed every single one of them. Got to the line, hit his free throws, and I think that was kind of what Kobe did for him. Is really he allowed him to say, "Hey, you can struggle. It doesn't always have to be pretty. It's just about getting the job done." But a couple moments that stand out for me, of course, here's the game winner against the Thunder. There's the pass, the Showtime era level pass that he had. I mean, that was such a sick play. But for me, it absolutely is. I think it's dunk on KG. I mean, I'm a big fan of baseline dunks, and I think that you saw the dunk in the NBA Finals where he's posting up, does the spin, dunks on KG, yells. And that was at a time where, look, Twitter was kind of in its infancy. But if it was around before then, everyone would be calling him Gasoft because they were questioning his toughness. They were questioning his heart. And he goes and makes that dunk. And really, you saw him really just establish himself. Also, the kind of the dunk he had against the Magic. But if you remember his rookie season, he dunked on KG. He kind of pointed his ear up. And that was the player that he idolized growing up. So, yeah, Kevin Garnett, he was a guy he battled with and he won a title again. So, yeah, Pau Gasol, a lot of great moments. But I think last night, just having him be the guy that you kind of think of when you think of that era now with Kobe Bryant unfortunately gone. I think the way he has embraced and kind of acknowledged that he has to be that guy because Kobe is gone, I think that is something that is not something that he would have done 10 years ago. Something that he might have been uncomfortable with, but he is embracing now, and I think, that was a proud moment. But what is your most memorable Pau Gasol moment, Noel?
Yeah, Gasol was honestly like the first big man I remember growing up with. Just getting into basketball, seeing those two dominant Lakers seasons where they beat the Magic and the Celtics for back-to-back titles. But no, it's truly been beautiful being able to see his career blossom throughout. Wasn't the prettiest ending like we said, but definitely got so many good moments. Like being the tallest player at the time when I used to play like YMCA and stuff growing up, I was trying to model my post moves after him, trying to pass out of the high post like he did. But looking at it from one specific moment, there was a play where Kobe Bryant's at the top of the key and then Gasol's at the free throw line. And him and Kobe are just communicating just through eyes, no words. Like, he just gives him a little, like, glance to the left, like, I'm going to go set a pick right there. Quick pick and roll, easy money bucket, probably one of the thousands that they did together. And it just goes to show just how strong their chemistry was. And like you guys are saying, two of the most intelligent human beings that we've seen step foot on a basketball court. And their brotherhood just is beyond what anybody could ever describe. And I feel like that play, it sums up Gasol for who he was because he truly bought into Kobe's vision. And, you know, Kobe's going to love anybody that works as hard as him.
Facts, yeah.
Yeah, no, and he well-deserved honor. To me, absolutely exceeded all the requirements to get your number retired by the Lakers. All-Star champion. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, well-deserved. Congratulations to the big Spaniard, Pau Gasol. But we're going to end on this topic because, look, the Lakers have some current players on their roster that could have their number retired one day. We talked about one earlier. My question to you, Noah, is do you think the Lakers will retire Anthony Davis's number 3?
That's a good question. I mean, after the game, you know, Anthony Davis did say in his press conference that I went to Pau and said, I want my jersey up there too one day. So, you know, he wants it, which you love to see. You want to see that drive. He has something to work towards. He wants his jersey up there. Now, is he a lock for them to retire it? Will they retire it? That's a tough question. I think if he wins another championship with this team, 100%, he gets his jersey retired. 2 championships, one of them in the bubble, one of them, you know, hopefully in front of the home fans if they can win it on home court, things like that. Like for fans to really experience a playoff run and a championship run with AD like in LA, I think that would be a big thing. And 2, I think if they don't win another championship, if he at least finishes his career and plays another like 7 years and has like a double-digit, you know, year-long journey with the Lakers, then probably gets it up there too, as long as he continues to play at like a high level. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's a lock right now, especially considering who knows how long he's going to be on this team. I mean, so things like that. But one more championship, 100%, finish your career with LA right now. Yes, he'll get it up there. But I wouldn't say right now it's like a for sure going to happen. So
not a lock right now? What's your take?
Honestly, I feel like anything else, health is the number one thing with him. If he can stay healthy, and we all know what he could do. We all know his level of play when he's not sitting on the bench in some fresh clothes. I think that he's going to be able to do it. And you mentioned previously about Giannis's 50-point game to bring the Bucks their championship in 2021. Why can't Anthony Davis do that? If LeBron James comes back, why not just let him ease his way back? Don't have to go crazy at 38 years old, 39 years old, 40 years old. If AD could have a championship run like Giannis did as the primary big man on a team, put up about 30, 40 points in a final series, some blocks, a lot of rebounds, and bring home his first finals MVP, I think that's enough for the Lakers to throw his jersey up there next. But what do you think, Doug?
I think that I'm with you. I don't think it's an absolute lock at this point because I think there is a small chance that, hey, the way this season ends, if they absolutely flame out, maybe the Lakers might consider trading him. I think that's highly unlikely. But if he does play just 4 years with the Lakers, he did make 2 All-Star teams. He was absolutely the second best player, or you could even argue on some nights the best player for a championship-winning team. Really should have been an All-Star this. But I do think that he's going to finish out his career, at least the next. He's going to finish out his contract with the Lakers. And when he does that, if you look at the totality of his time here, his body of work, it is going to say multi-time All-Star that is an NBA champion. So I think he's pretty much a shoo-in. I'd give it like 85% chance that he's going to get his number retired with the Lakers. But final topic here, though, LeBron James, number 6, number 23. The Lakers won the 2020 title with him wearing number 23. Noah, do you think the Lakers will ultimately retire one or even both of LeBron's numbers?
Definitely won't be both. That's reserved for Kobe and Kobe only. And Kobe deserved it. I mean, he had 2 Hall of Fame careers in each number. So, I mean, he deserves that. But as for LeBron, not going to be both. I can't imagine them not retiring one of his jerseys just because, I mean, he brought a championship to this team. He's already been here 5 years. Next year it's going to be 6. So he's not getting traded. So it's going to be retired. But honestly, I don't know which one it would be. I mean, he won the championship in 23. I would say if he wins a championship in 6, 6 is going to go up. But if he doesn't win a championship in 6, then I feel like it's almost weird to put 6 up there because he didn't get to the promised land in 6. I would say right now, I guess they put up 23. But also if he plays another like 5 years, and knowing him, that's possible, 4 years in 6, that means a majority of his time will have been in 6. So I don't know, it's a tough question. I mean, he's going to get a jersey up there because it's LeBron and he won a championship here and he was the best player, he won finals MVP. But 6 or 23, I'm going to guess it's going to end up being 6 because I think they're going to win another championship. But right now it'd probably be 23, I guess.
It's a pretty bold take.
It was a bold take.
I mean, it's a pretty bold take. That was the most casual.
I just got to drop that hot take.
Championship guarantee I've ever seen. I mean, might as well be Joe Namath at this point, running off the field with the number 1. But yeah, I mean, I think that you bring up some really great points in the fact that his best moment, his peak with the Lakers right now is with number 23, but he might ultimately end up playing more years with number 6. Yeah. What do you think, Noel?
Yeah, honestly, I'm a firm believer that along with Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Lakers are going to be throwing a jersey up there in the rafters. Like, it's LeBron we're talking about, and they can say it's a Mickey Mouse ring, call him Le Mickey all they want.
No comment.
But, you know, he did bring us that 2020 championship. He was the best player on that team, and through all the adversity, he was able to allow the Lakers to prevail there. And, you know, we've been talking a lot about aspirations for this season. If LeBron could get it done this season or any of the seasons following, that's one more championship and the same criteria as AD. I think his jersey will be up there as well.
Yeah, I actually think, one, I'm still loving the lightweight casual guarantee, but I'll tell you, I think that it's 100%. I think the Lakers are absolutely not only going to retire 23, I think they'll do 6 and 23. No, I absolutely think they will because
hot take.
Because if what you say is true, he's going to win a championship in 6 and 1 in 23. But the reason why I think the Lakers will do that is a couple reasons. Is one, when LeBron James signed with the Lakers were a dumpster fire. The Lakers had no direction. They were missing the playoffs every single year. They had nothing going for them. Magic Johnson was still working with the Lakers, camped out outside of LeBron's house before they had that meeting. And LeBron, he did what he said he was going to do. He came and he delivered at least a championship, really helped get this organization back on track. Also, too, you consider the marketing benefits. You want to have a LeBron James night. You want to have that big night with the gold T-shirts all over the seats. You want your organization aligned with LeBron James because, look, that shows superstars down the line. You sign with the Lakers, we take care of you. We will pay tribute to you. I don't think you're going to see a LeBron James statue or anything like that. I think the statue is a whole different conversation, but I do think at the end of the day, he is going to stay here for the next handful of years. I think he will finish his career with the Lakers, and ultimately he'll have his jersey retired with multiple organizations. But I do think, yeah, that's a bold take saying he'll get the Kobe treatment because, look, I mean, you don't want to go full-on New York Yankees and retire every single number. And look, maybe LeBron James will just say, maybe they'll come to LeBron and say, hey, we're going to retire your number, and you just want to pick one, and maybe he'll say, I want to be known by number 6 because Michael Jordan, the whole thing. So, yeah, I think it could come down to that. But I think if LeBron wanted both retired, the way that he's really had a stranglehold on this organization, they would retire both. But, yeah, I think you're going to see LeBron's number retired, AD's, and Austin Reeves at some point. But
not Rui Hachimura.
And not Rui Hachimura. Look, I'm not going to say what we talk about off camera, but let's just put it like this. He's not a Rui Hachimura stan.
I'm just telling you, like,
is that fair?
I think people like the idea of him, but he hasn't been the player that we were expecting him to be. So until I see that, I think that I'm the only person pushing the narrative that he's been as bad as he's been. I mean, until he plays well, I'm not going to give him credit just because he was a former lottery pick, and no one wants to admit it was a bad trade. But in this moment, that was a bad trade.
Hey, you got to respect the objectivity. But thank you so much, guys, for joining us for another episode of the Lakers 24-8 Roundtable. Go follow my man, Mr. Noah Cameras, at Noah Cameras. And then, of course, Mr. Noel. Noel, want to give him your handle?
Noise by Noel. Check it out.
Check it out. Some fire content. Absolutely follow. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And we want all your takes down below. Do you think the Lakers should sign Rui Hachimura to a new contract? Do they have to bring back Austin Reeves? Is he a must sign? Also, should the Lakers retire Anthony Davis's number, LeBron James's number? What are your predictions on that? Let us know down below. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Want all your takes down below. And until next time, go Lakers.